the pricing model, going back to what Fiona said when we were figuring out the business, Fiona said to us in a meeting when we were all kind of talking, Tom was on board by now, we were talking about what's this business going to look like. And I remember Fiona saying very distinctly, and she said, she went, if all we can do is create a pricing structure that is a percentage of an annual salary split into 3 installments, then we have failed. We are going to...
Because that's what everyone's doing.
So everyone does. Everyone does. She went, I started in business in late 1980s, early 1990s. That's what they were doing then, and it's not changed. Like what? And I always felt that when we were growing, I always felt that the only people that were benefiting from the growth were the recruiters, because the percentage rarely changed, and I felt like I was paying a tax on hiring. Like it just didn't sit comfortably with me.
Yeah,
hiring tax. I was
clients use that term before.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, love it, love it. So what we decided to do was just to be really clear that we were going to do a fixed project cost on every project that we do. So every cost is customized to the customer depending on their needs. We aggressively, ferociously look for economies of scale. So if we're working on a scale project, there are obvious economies of scale. And if there are economies of scale, we pass them on to our customer, and we are, unapologetically open about that. And in some cases, we show them where there is an economy of scale, and we're going to pass it on to them and what that means for them in terms of the cost, the overall cost structure. But then what we do is we put a subscription together. So our smallest subscription is 3 months. So some people would say, well, that's just the same as 3 installments, but it's not. It's a subscription. It's not typically done on retainer fee, shortlist fee, completion fee. It's we base it on sort of the nature of the project, and some people only want a 3-month subscription, but our average subscription is 6 months. And so we build a subscription and we put the subscription in play, and that cost is fixed. And that's really important in this part of the industry. And to your point at the start, the industry's done this where the market's absolutely boomed, and then it's flatlined a bit, and some parts of it are absolutely tanked. The certainty of spend and certainty of cost and transparency of cost for CFOs of private equity-owned businesses, it's like absolutely critical to them, because cash runways are everything for these businesses. They could be building facilities, they could be installing new capital expenditure. Their cash runway is the lifeblood of their organization. So cash is king, and if we can perhaps support in that, then that responds positively. But equally, it also shows that we're sticky. And so the subscription gives them that confidence that we're not just going to finish the project, fill a job, and then clear off. They know that we're going to hang around. So it doesn't mean that a 6-month subscription means it's going to take us 6 months to deliver the project. It might take us 2 months to deliver the project, but we're going to get paid over 6 months. And so we sort of took that burden on as a business, and we felt that was our way of putting our skin in the game and putting our money where our mouth was.
Okay, this is super interesting. So the 3-month, is that what you call it, the capsule project?
Yeah, typically a capsule project, yeah.
And then what's the 6-month called?
They're called scale typically. It's where it's anything north of 3 hires, we call it a scale project. And typically the minimum subscription is 6 months, but we've got subscriptions that run for 10 to 18 months.
Okay. And then for the subscription, is it based on a certain number of hires, or is it based on you allocating a certain number of talent partners to that project, or how do you price it?
Yeah, combination of the two, in all honesty. And we also look at the nuances of the roles, right? So how you price a scale project where you're hiring maybe 5 of the same people? Well, there are some economies of scale to be had there. You can definitely pass on some benefits, and how you price that is maybe different to a customer coming to us and saying, we're going to build the leadership team of a new company that we're buying. So we need, one of these, and they're all fundamentally different types of positions. How you price that's very different. So we look at the merits of every single case, and again, very participative process. We involve the customer in these discussions and say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Here's a starting point. but this is a starting point. So let's discuss it. And give them the idea of what they're going to get. And as long as we can demonstrate that there's value. So in terms of percentages, right? I'm not going to say that we don't look at, because we do. I'll be naive not to. Because when we're trying to think about, okay, how are we faring against some of our competitors who are maybe more the transactional 360-degree type models, like we have a good understanding and barometer of what the market average is. So we can then assess our cost versus their cost. And not always, but, especially with scale projects, because we're quite, as I say, unapologetically open about passing on those economies of scale, we can be 20 or 30% more cost effective than a contingent model, but actually we're providing a ton more value than what you get with a contingent model. And so actually, it's not more often than not, we're not competing on price point, we're competing on value, and we can demonstrate what you get with us versus what you get with them. It's quite significantly different.